Hey, everybody.
If you can hear us okay, let us know, because this is the first time we've done this.
Does it sound good? Are we somebody give us a thumbs up, thumbs down? You guys are morons. Anyone?
At Granger, we're the ones who pay attention to everyone.
Where is
Where
that
does that
coming
come from?
It's because you've got like gazillion tabs open.
Because you know the tiniest thing.
There we go. You're on. Okay. Sorry, Darlene decided to do this live stream on a computer that has like 50
I have like a
tabs
million
open.
tabs open. I'll have to figure out where something's talking.
Your tab management.
Oh, that's what it is. There we go. Should stop now. No, it didn't.
No, it's these stupid Granger commercials. They keep targeting me. I'm just like, I am not a Granger customer. They're burning stock all their money. We're wasting time now. So Darlene is figuring out what
I
she's doing.
think I have another browser open, so I'm going to close this. Yeah, that was it.
If you close the tabs, you'll forget what you were doing. Okay, love your channel.
Exactly. You are my people. Like, that is so true. Or I can't ever find the tab again. I'm like going back in history and all that.
Okay, that's a fail. We're doing this on my computer
next time. Yeah, I know. Okay, and this is the sad part of being old is I've got my glasses on, I still can't see. So Barry's gonna have to monitor the chat.
Yeah. When I have to help you see things, you know you're in trouble.
I so need new glasses. It's so sad. Hi, everybody.
Hello from Florence, Kentucky. Hi, Tanya. We're originally from Evansville, Indiana. So, Kentucky.
I see some Floridians in there. That's awesome. Oh, this is so exciting. You came. We've never done this before, so we weren't sure how many people would come.
Anybody would show up.
Yeah. Hey, do put where you're from. That's kind of cool to see all the different areas and where y'all are from. I see I see several familiar names, so that's pretty cool. Well, we're gonna let everybody's still piling in, it looks like. So that's awesome.
Madison, Indiana. Got some Canadians coming on board.
I know, that is so cool. We're gonna get there eventually.
Bonjour. I took French in high school. That's
I didn't see it, but I don't remember any. Okay. Well, this crazy thing is right before the live, we lost our dishy. We lost Starlink because it was like a crazy storm that rolled in and it was booming and you couldn't hear anything. I was like, of course that happens.
But Hugo barked at the thunder, so he made it go away.
And now Hugo is doing everything he can to make noise. He was chasing his tail. Now he's chewing on a bone really loud. So he's saying hello as well.
He is acting out. He's still a toddler. He
is a toddler. But we are outside of Great Sand Dunes National Park in the high desert of Colorado.
I did not know that there were desert regions in Colorado because I'm sheltered.
I know. We really, I guess this is a great lesson in. We just really didn't travel enough before RV life because we just didn't know stuff. So when we go to these new places, we're like, wow, we were just in the high mountains, these beautiful aspens and the leaves were turning. And now we drove 2.5 hours south and it's like desert and it's beautiful desert. So that's kind of cool.
But it's also cold in the mornings. It's 35 degrees, but then it gets, so I'm like wearing sweats in the morning and jackets. And then by afternoon, I'm changing into shorts.
Yeah, that's okay.
Not so bad. We kind of like it that way.
I'll take it over the heat.
Let's get on to the good stuff. Let's
a couple of housekeeping things. We are going to take as many questions as we can in the chat. So if you want to throw a couple in there, that's fine. We wanted to kind of let you know some by the way, if you have not subscribed to the channel, you should have. If you're here, you probably have, but double check that you're subscribed. We are this close to 19,000 subscribers, very close. So if you haven't subscribed and you just happen to jump on here, please go and subscribe because it really helps us out. And we are so thankful. We started this channel in January. Crazy how much we're growing. And it's all because of you guys. And you guys inspire us with the things you ask. And so if you love the content, it's because a lot of you guys are, emailing us, getting on our list and following us and telling us, what it is that you want to hear about. So thank you. One thing we're going to go ahead and just get it out of the way first. Our big announcement, if you didn't hear in our last video, is that we have been working feverishly.
Okay, I worked a little bit. I took a whole Saturday and filmed the videos, and then I gives her all week to edit those videos.
Yeah, so we are putting together our dream course, the course that we wish was out there when we went full time, because there's so much we didn't know. You know, we're looking at every different channel and all online and blogs, and you know, trying to figure out this going full time transition. So we created the tool, the resource we wish we had when we started.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be very thorough. It's going to start from the basics. We're going to assume that you don't know anything about full-time RVing or RVing just in general, like we didn't when we started. But even still, if you're even more advanced and you've RV'd for a long time, but this whole full-time thing, that's a whole different animal. That's like uprooting your life, especially what it takes to like sell all your stuff or put it in storage, or and then how do you route your trips and how do you do all these things? We're really going to go into all those details.
Yeah. Medical, health, insurance, all the little things we didn't even know we needed to know that we've just figured it out through the 2 years. Lots of extra resources. This is stuff that we have not done videos publicly on. I think he's going to take Hugo's bone away. But we have right now, I think there are over 30 some odd videos that are new in this course. There's going to be checklists to when you're buying a rig, comparison charts that you can use to compare all the different features of different rigs. If you're transitioning into a different rig, we have like not only the budget spreadsheet, which we've had that on our website, but also a timeline helping you get to the goal of going on the road. So all the little things, and there's check boxes, and it has pie sheets, charts, and you can check things off and know you're making your progress in the time frame you need to in order to get on the road. So I don't know, we're just so excited about it, and we're this close. We're getting
It's got pie charts. I mean, it's got to be good.
I'm that person. So when I basically did it the hard way when I did it, I had like notebooks and like everything was written out in hand, and that's helpful in some ways, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So that's our big announcement, and it's coming, and we hope if you're going full time and you're needing help that this is a good resource.
Okay. So we have some questions.
Yep.
So when does this come out? Carson is asking when Darlene gets it finished. So hopefully
I'm thinking in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. So how many batteries and watts of solar do you have while boondocking? I'm reading this. This is what DS says. So we actually have 4 200 amp hour batteries. They're Redodo batteries. If you haven't seen our video about solar, please go watch those. Redodo still has great deals on Amazon. So we have 800 amp hours total. And then we have, I think it's 1,550 watts of solar panels on the roof. And that's, when things are working normally, it charges our batteries pretty much all day long if we don't use our air conditioners, which we rarely ever would if we're running on solar. So, so I hope that answers your question. I would encourage you to go back and watch that solar video, because we do go into great detail about that.
And the discount is still on our website. I believe you can get to it if you go up to partners. The Redodo battery people, I believe it's still like 60% off. So if you use our link and go through that, I think it's a higher discount. So little tip.
Okay. So did you guys have an experience to towing prior to go full time, or did you guys just jump in right at the deep end? Any tips on how to haul a big rig? No, we didn't have any experience. Well, I didn't have any experience driving an RV at all. I did have some towing experience pulling, because I've been involved in music and bands my whole life. So I had an SUV, and I was the guy that was responsible for towing a really big trailer that we had for one band that I was in. But that was the extent of it. I did learn during that process the importance, but that was a bumper tow, right? So that's going to be like if you were to look at towing a travel trailer, that would have been similar to that experience. So if you do have a travel trailer, I did learn the importance of making sure that your tongue weight and everything is proper. Otherwise, it's going to make your wheels go up on your truck and you're going to lose control. Ask me how I know. Actually, that didn't happen with the band, but it could have. If you don't do that right. But, so no, I didn't experience towing certainly a fifth wheel or a toy hauler. So
yeah, just remember, we had never had an RV before.
Yeah. So the day that we took delivery, actually, the day they sold it to us, we still didn't have a truck. So we ended up having to have them store it. They stored it in Georgia, and then they delivered it to Florida. And then we ended up finding a dually finally. And then we went and took delivery on it, drove off, and that was the first time that I ever towed. I can say that the driving experience for me was not nerve-wracking necessarily. I don't know. I think going straight and then just looking at my mirrors and turning and all that kind of stuff was not a big deal for me. What was a big deal for me was learning how to back in. And I am going to go over that in the course. There were some videos that I found that were extremely helpful. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we can link them, but the videos where the guys like take these little Matchbox cars for all you old people out there that know what Matchbox cars are, or like big wheels.
Yeah.
Do they still make big wheels?
Is it Big Wheels and Matchbox? I don't know. Anyways.
Or no, Hot Wheels.
Hot
not
Wheels.
Big Wheels. Big Wheels are
Really
what you have.
Hot Wheels. And the guy was basically explaining how to back in with the Hot Wheels, and that clicked for him. That was the thing that did it. And so
yeah, I mean, he did a great explanation, and he showed the basically the mechanics of how to back up. So that's how I learned how to do it, but I'm still not that great at it.
He's fine. He does a lot better.
12 volt or 24 volt. We are 12 volt. That's a more advanced question when it comes to solar, but definitely decided not to go with the 24 volt system. I think maybe because of the cost of it. I don't really remember what my reasoning was. How did you coordinate the move out and move into the rig? You guys are asking great questions. A lot of this stuff is
in the course,
pretty
but
much covered.
We'll give you the quick snapshot.
I'll let her speak.
Yeah, I mean, we had a timeline. We had to sell things by certain dates. I had the spreadsheet, which is what I'm giving you in the course. And basically, I knew what I needed to sell by a certain amount of time. Once we got down to the basics, everything I was keeping, because I had different piles: donate, trash, keep, store, whatever. We started transitioning. We put the RV at a local RV park. We also had a storage unit for a little bit, but the actual getting us out of the house, because there's a little bit of time where we literally had a TV on the floor and we're sitting in lawn chairs because we had nothing left in the house. It was like, that was it. And we put our bed from our house, we actually squished it into the RV. So we actually have our full-size king bed in our RV.
We're not kidding.
I would not recommend you doing that, but we were too cheap to buy a new mattress. So we did, over about a week and a half period, we just transitioned completely out of the house into the RV at the RV park because we had leased our house out. Someone was going to be coming in. So we had a dead end date. We had to get out. So that's kind of in a nutshell how we did it. In the course, I kind of go through the exact way that you can do it and not drive yourself nuts like we did. But
I think a deadline is a good thing. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like, somebody else moving into your house to make you want to move out of your house. So that makes a big difference. And I mean, it came down to the very last day and we had all this stuff we still hadn't thrown away. We literally put it out on the curb. She put a post out on Facebook Marketplace.
I said, come get it.
Took a picture of it, like free stuff. And
it was gone.
People came and cleared it out overnight. Okay. So let's,
you can scroll back up if you need to.
Oh, I can?
I think so.
I don't know how this thing works. This is like crazy technology to me.
All right. I don't know. I can't read it. So you don't have to do it.
Okay. How did you coordinate the move out? Okay, we already did that one. Can't wait for the course. What in your opinion is a good amount for emergency funds when going full time? That really depends on your spending habits.
Yeah, your situation. I would think of what's the worst thing that could break on your RV that you would need that cash for. Maybe that much. But no, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, just that same thing if you're in a regular house. I just think it's smarter in an RV to be prepared to, what if you need all new tires all of a sudden? What if your suspension goes out and you need to replace a bunch of stuff? What if, like the big stuff that's not covered under warranty because we had a newer rig. We had kind of that kind of fun all the time. And then I always try to make it bigger, but stuff happens and you'll draw from it. So ours kind of expands and changes all the time between, I don't know, it usually is around 5,000 to 8,000, but that's just my comfort level. So you just have to do what you think is right for you. Good
answer. Are you guys ever homesick, missing family, friends in your old place? Yeah, I mean, we certainly miss our kids.
Yeah.
We have our kids, because we are empty nesters now, and our son still lives in Sarasota. Thank God the hurricane. He was totally fine in the
Yeah.
hurricane. He didn't have a scratch on his place.
And my mom is there too, so she had a little bit of damage, but not much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say I miss our family. But before we even went on the road, our son lived in another part of the state at the time. My mom goes back and forth between Indiana. Most of our family's in Indiana. So we have been kind of separated from our family for a long time. So do we miss the house? No.
We really don't.
And the last time we went back and visited Sarasota, where we lived before, it had a whole different vibe. It got really, really busy. It was way more crowded than before. I mean, it's booming there, obviously. So I guess I kind of was like, I think our time there was done. I don't miss that, but I miss the band. I miss him playing. I miss those people, my girls. But every time we go back, that's where we do our medical checkups. So we go back to visit my son and my mom and do our checkups. So we at least go back once a year and we can kind of touch base with everybody. So
yeah, absolutely. In fact, we just booked today some Florida
yeah,
not quite boondocking spots, but this, we're gonna let you a little inside mojo.
This is coming. So one of our beefs with going back to Florida is it's really expensive.
Yeah.
It's not like California expensive, but it's really expensive.
Well, and it's hard to find places to stay.
Yeah.
If you want to find a campground, you can find them in the middle of the state where nobody wants to be, but on the coast, you're.
So our problem has always been finding affordable places to stay, especially in Sarasota, where we're from. We would spend so much money compared to what we normally do boondocking in state parks. All the state parks get booked up crazy all winter in Florida. So it's really hard for us to do our 2-week stay windows, or at least one whole week. So we got really creative, and we're coming for the Tampa RV show, which is, I think, the second-ish week in January. So we're going to try to do a meetup there. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. But we're going to that. Hopefully we'll do some, I'm looking into the people that host it to see if we can maybe do an organized meetup or speak or do a big influencer meetup kind of thing. But our thing was we needed to stay in Florida until March, because we're getting something done to the RV that's super exciting, but I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. And we needed to stick around there. And I was just like, I don't want to pay. So I have figured out how we can either stay for free, so boondocking, or really, really cheap through the entire time from mid-January till beginning of March. And that's what we're going to show you when we get to that time of year. We're going to show you how we figured that out. So
there you go. If you're going to go to the Tampa RV show, put that down in the comments. If you're thinking about going because you're wondering if RV shows are a good place to buy an RV, 100% you should go. I'm not saying you should buy your RV there.
We did.
We did, yeah. But if you've never been to a big show, like we've never been to
Hershey.
There's
nothing like it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's every possible RV that you could ever think of is there for you to walk in and look and, sit on the couches and the whole bit.
So it's worth it.
So how many miles do you average between locations? 300 or so?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many miles, but our usual drive time is between 2 and 4 hours from each place. We break that rule when we have to be somewhere by a certain date. Every once in a while, we'll do a really long drive day, but we absolutely hate doing that. So usually we just hop little hops.
Yeah, and the thing is with long drive days, really for us only come because like we are between time and Halloween and Thanksgiving, we're going all the way from Arizona to Santa Barbara, California, which is a long way. And of course, we pretty much only drive on weekends, right? So that would be the time where we have to do long distances because we have a goal to get to a certain place by a certain time. And we're just going to Santa Barbara to see our best friends up there. So I decided to be hosting meet and greet at the Tampa RV show. I already answered that. So we were doing it. How long did it take from the decision to go full time to actually hitting the road? We were 6 months to the day, including selling the house and all in it.
Oh,
wow.
You're an
overachiever.
Awesome. I want to say we made the decision to do it maybe a year out.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. We bought the RV at the Tampa RV show in I think it was February that year, January, February. We didn't take possession of it until April-ish. We did some shakedown trips. So I think it was Mother's Day. And we had it in storage in that time. So from pretty much when we bought the RV, I think is when we started getting like, we're doing this thing. We bought it, kind of thing. So probably, yeah, is that 6 months?
So January we bought the RV,
Yeah.
and then we would have went full time in August. So that's
July, August,
8 months, 7. Yeah. So, but before we ever got to the Tampa RV show, there were literally months of Darlene watch. I say Darlene because that's when my band was constantly gigging every weekend. I mean, I was home during the week, of course, but she was just watching all these RV shows every night. Yeah. And then on weekends, when I wasn't home, she would just keep watching. She would take all these notes, and that's so it was a lot of lead up. And so by the time we got to the RV show, she already had marked on there exactly which models that I
had to narrow down to like 5 or 6, I think, and then we kept going. And like the first day we narrowed it down to the top 2 or 3. And then when we were serious, we had down to 2, and then we were wheeling and dealing to get the one we wanted, which is the Alliance that we're in now. So, but yeah, it's a journey, right? I would say take as much time as you can to do it. But when you set your mind to it, you'll make it happen. Like if 6 months is you're going to make it happen. It's just going to be a lot more work.
Yeah. I think, and I do think having that deadline, with us having tenants, but of course, I mean, as many of you probably know our story, we ended up selling our house the following year, mainly because we couldn't find any more tenants at a rental price. The rental market exploded for about a year. We made good money, and then the rental market tanked.
Yeah.
And, and looking back on it, thank God we sold our house.
Because we sold it in 48 hours.
48 hours. And I don't really remember what the interest rates were at the time.
Over asking.
Yeah. But we ended up finding a cash buyer, but she was partially cash. She ended up, getting some of a loan. But I just know that because the company that I work for is in Florida. So I have a lot of coworkers. Some of them are trying to sell their house. Her mom's trying to sell her house right now. And
with the hurricanes, it's going to be even harder to sell.
So
we got out when it was a good time. So
yeah,
that's a good thing. A lot of people ask, we didn't spend that money. We put it all in investment. And basically that's our nest egg. When we want to come off the road, we have a plan. And that's something we talk about in the course, is you should have some sort of exit plan, whether it's your choice of exit or if something happens. These are things you just want to have in your mind of how you're going to handle it if something does occur. But for those of you who follow us, you can fall on your head and almost break your neck, and you can still be on the road.
We don't recommend that.
I don't.
Okay. William asks, do you use shore power or generator very often? How often? What usually causes you the biggest reason to have to use shore or generator? We're actually hooked into shore power right now. This is a really interesting campground. We'll make a video about it, but it's right outside the
Great sand dunes.
Great sand. I just want to call them the big sand dunes.
They're
big. Great, but they're just always going to be big for me.
Yeah.
In Colorado, and this was a state park that lost its state park standing.
I call it the abandoned campground.
Back in 2017, and so it hasn't been updated at all. But the electric still works, and you can come here if you have a Colorado wildlife pass or something,
wildlife permit or something,
which are dirt cheap.
Yeah. So that's in next week's video. So I'm not going to reveal too much.
Yeah. Okay. So that was her way of telling me to shut up. Yeah. But there are 50 amp hookups here. Works perfectly.
Yeah. And actually, it's a good way we did that. We were supposed to be boondocking from now all winter, but what happened is we did have a hiccup with our solar. We talked about it in some of the other videos. And we were really spending a lot of money on fuel for the generator. Yeah. So we decided this place you won't believe how cheap it is, but we could have the power and still have a cheap stay. And we're like, let's go for that because it would save us in the end. So we kind of go back and forth. I would say most of the winter we're completely, for the most part, boondocking. We generally, when the solar is 100% working, we'll just run the generator if it's a cloudy day. We usually kind of come back up, so it's not been an issue. But until we get it fixed, we're having to run our generator a lot. In
case you're wondering, anybody asks, the problem is with the solar, and the problem continues. I ended up sitting it because we have 2 solar controllers. We have two sets of solar arrays, right? We have the solar arrays that came with the rig, and then we have another array that we bought whenever we installed our larger solar rig. Well, it turns out we realized that the solar panels that came originally with the rig were not producing hardly any electricity, and I couldn't figure out why. And so first we thought it was the breaker, then we thought it was the solar power controller. I ended up sending the solar controller back to where I bought it at Inverters R Us. They tested it. They said there's nothing wrong with this solar controller, so they just shipped it back to me. So now they're thinking that, I mean, it's a long story, it's a long saga that keeps continuing. We will get it fixed.
Yeah.
It's probably something simple, but it's a matter of testing, and I'm no electrician, and I'm certainly not a solar tech. So, but when it's working normally, we use our generator maybe once in the evening to charge the batteries back up before we go to bed, and
for not very long. Usually it's
great.
just to top it off. So on a really good sunny day, back when it was working great, might not have to run it. It depends if we want to watch TV or not, and we use up a bunch of battery. But yeah. And then campgrounds we stay at in between sometimes our boondocking stays, just to clean and really clean the tanks and dump everything and put new water in before we go back out boondocking. But in the summer and the warmer months, if we're in warmer climates, Mama don't like heat. So we'll stay at a campground. We just try to do state parks and stuff, so it's less expensive. That's what I'm so excited about the Florida thing, because we're going to show you how, yes, you can boondock in Florida. Yeah,
I mean, because we've got especially now, if you didn't watch our waste tote video that we put out here a couple weeks ago with I forget the brand, Vivor, like one of those Chinese name brands, they come up with the most random names. Anyway, so the waste tote thing, we can now do 87 gallon. No, hold on. 140 something gallons at a time with the waste. In fact, I just dumped today.
And boy, was that a controversial video. People were losing their mind. It was either, we love this is awesome, way to figure it out, or like, you people are nuts, you're going to have poo explosions, you're crazy. So, do what you're comfortable with, but it's working for us.
Where I was going with that was, I like it so much that I thought, hey, I could buy another smaller one for water.
Yep. So
I already have the 60 gallon one that I had already, and then I bought a 87 gallon version. Again, these things are dirt cheap. They're like $40-50, and you got to buy some attachments anyway. So the reason I bring that up is that if you can go to some of these state parks or other places, weird places like this that just have power, but they don't have, they have a dump station, but it's at the front of the park, and then they don't have water here. So we actually have to drive 25 minutes into town to get water, which I get free at the Maverick station, by the way. Thumbs up to Maverick.
I know, right?
They have pure gas at Maverick. Love the Mavericks. But anyway, so be able to extend the time that you do the waste and extend the time that you do the water, then you can stay at these places that just have power. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So in the summertime, you run your AC, but you're good with the other stuff.
Now, some of these places are going to have, you can only stay a certain amount of time, so you may have to move around. But it's really nice to not have to move your whole RV to go dump or get water. It just makes it so much
I've never
better.
done that.
Yeah.
We
never will.
Nope, too big.
We're too big.
Okay. All right. So does your course include more info on how to plan off-grid locations? Already watched the existing video. We'll have a supplemental course for that.
We're going to do a whole boondocking off-grid course because there's a lot of people that are already full-time that now want to do the boondock kind of thing and get off-grid more. So we're going to make it separate so you don't have to buy one to get the other. So you can have either one or both. So question. It's coming like that. As soon as we get this one done, I'm like turning around and doing that one.
Do you miss your beard? A little bit, because I still have not grown accustomed to looking at myself in the mirror. And to be perfectly honest, I had a beard for 15 years.
Almost the entire time our kids have been around.
So let's just say I look a lot different, I think, than before I grew the beard 15 years before. Let's just say I look old. To me. Now, most people say I look younger, but there's some certain wrinkles under my neck that were there. They were just covered by the beard. So, yeah, I don't know. It's the verdict's still out. It's just it wasn't the beard. I mean, the beard was driving me nuts with the itching and stuff because of these dry climates that we're in, but also the gray. I mean, obviously, it made me look like a Santa Claus. Medical. What do you recommend? My wife is probably going to be needing surgeries, and I will be leaving my job. We want to make sure she is still covered with quality options and copays. Oh, that's a great question for Bob, the insurance guy.
Yeah, Bob Nunn. Okay, I will. In fact, a lot of the stuff we're talking about, when this is over, I'll go back and put it in the description of this video so you have easier access, or go and find our medical video, and his information is in that description as well. Bob is a great resource to help you figure out what you qualify for, what you can afford, what you want coverage, so our situation was a little different. If you have pre-existing, that's the only time it's going to get really hairy, is when you have to get your own insurance. I will tell you, everyone's like, why didn't you go on the marketplace and get the government, like that? Listen, I'm going to be a little snarky here. You need to be poor or that's the way they treated us. Because when I went in there, the pricing that they gave us was absolutely ridiculously high. There was no way we could afford it. So they say it's affordable for everyone, but it's not. They rank you based on your income. And again, with pre-existings, it goes up. So like we've looked at things where Barry looked and said, oh, well, that's not a bad price. And then he put in his information and they're like, oh no, it's $100 more a month. Because, so it's a little bit of a juggle. That's why I love Bob, because Bob will go find the stuff for you and then you can take a look and see what's right for you. But that's been one of our hardest things. I mean, I'll be straight with you guys. We were not properly covered from my accident because it was an ER visit. And I won't say the number, but it is super painful. And luckily my insurance has a negotiator, and they are going in and trying to get the bills lowered for me. So that's a plus of the one I ended up going with, which is Philadelphia American. So I would say if you're wondering what it's like, how much you get covered, when we did a separate policy for like big health things like cancer or something like that, we had a separate policy for that. So we added that on. So there are options for you. So if you don't find Bob's information, just message me, go through the website, do the form or whatever, and I'll send it directly to you.
Good question. Okay. Are the fall colors still nice in Colorado? They are. They're lovely. We were just by the big sand dunes, not the great sand dunes.
You keep saying that. It was gorgeous. So unfortunately, it was really cold and extremely windy. We did not sled. And honestly, I probably shouldn't anyways, because if I took a tumble the wrong way with my neck and my head, probably not smart. So
that's her excuse. My excuse is I just didn't want to.
You didn't want all the sand.
I'm like, I'm good. No, it's a big giant sand hills. Okay, let's go back to the truck.
But you could all the aspen. It was like all the colors on one side of the trees. Then you turn over here and it's just these sand mountains. And then you can see the high peaks in the back. That's what's so cool about this particular sand dune. And I think I've heard a lot of other people say that it's you have this beautiful mountainscape all around you while you're in the middle of these sand dunes. So
yeah,
super cool.
It's worth seeing. And at National Park, because so you can get it with your National Park Pass.
Pass.
Oh, and they also have water. They have potable water there. And I was thinking, well, if I would have known that, I could use my National Park Pass to get into that park, which is a heck of a lot closer than the town that we have to drive to.
They have a little campground there. You got to be small. There's no way you're fitting in there otherwise. No. But there's a dump station in the potable water right next to just past the Welcome Center. So, thank you for the
little money
super chat or the super. If you don't know what that is, it's kind of like a thank you for the information. A thank you for what you're doing. It's a tip.
So if you'd like to give us a tip, feel free.
Yeah, should be an option.
The tip. We just told you about our woes on paying the insurance bill.
No, either way, it's fine. But we certainly appreciate the support.
Okay, let's see. Have you all considered transitioning to a compost toilet or have any alternative recommendations for switching out to something different? To be perfectly honest, no, I haven't considered a compost toilet. Not that I've ruled it out. I just never thought about it.
Yeah. And I think we're okay with what we're doing. I think if you know you're staying in that rig, you're not going to trade out, you're gonna, because it's an investment on some of those. Like I'm thinking of the one that burns the poo.
That I don't think that's the same thing.
Yeah, that's
No,
different.
That's
because that was
that's like
suggested
an
a lot.
incinerator. Or
Yeah,
something.
and some of those can be kind of pricey too,
Yeah.
especially with us with 2 bathrooms. So
we really can't speak knowledgeably to that. So we're not opposed to it. We just really don't know much about it. So maybe it's something
someday
we should investigate. Maybe a compost toilet manufacturer will contact us and give us one for free. Hey, we're not above that either.
no, we're not above it.
Okay. What is your opinion of the payload capacity of a truck being overweight by 80 pounds? Again, we're not.
I don't know if we're
not super qualified to answer those kinds of things. 80 pounds doesn't sound like much to me, but then again, I'm not a professional when it comes to that. That's more of a question for like Jared or
Big Truck, Big RV.
Big Truck, Big RV.
Yeah, that's definitely something for them. I mean, we play it safe. We've gotten weight a few times, and we did it after we shed some weight too. Like when we got all our solar installed, we were a little worried that we were over in, towing. And so, but we shed our generator, our old big heavy Onan, and we also got rid of our washer dryer combo. So we were like, oh, I wonder if it balanced out. So we were at an escapees event, and a lot of RV events, sometimes like brands like the Alliance Rally, the Grand Design Rally, sometimes there'll be a weigh company there where you can just pull in, get weighed while you're there.
Cool.
It's awesome. It's so much easier than, dropping everything and all that. So we were under, so we were good, but that's a little bit, but I don't know. I'd ask an expert before us, to be honest.
Don't ask the truck people either. If they want to sell you a truck, they're going to, sure, you can tow anything with that thing.
Never trust the salesman. What he says is okay.
Okay. Grow the goatee back. LOL. Okay. Well, we got one vote for that. Thanks, Maria. Also, do you have any great spots to visit in Arizona? Yeah, I mean, we really like American Girl Mine outside of Yuma.
For boondocking.
So
what were the 2 parks that we really liked? The one where we got the solar install, that was...
Oh,
well, there's Dead Horse Ranch, and there's it's not Devil's Tower. That's where that was South Dakota. It's got the tower, but I can't think of the name of it right now. I think we might have put it in our favorite destinations.
Dead Horse Ranch.
We went there, and then we went to the other one, which was I don't know. Someone might think of it.
Look it up, and I'll talk about American Girl Mine. So, American Girl Mine Road. It's a really weird name, but that's it's just a road. It actually, there's a mine out there. I think it's still active, but it's way, way, way off the highways where the actual mine is. But the road leading up to it is, it's a big, gigantic open space. There are some kind of mountains a little bit in the background, but it's just mostly flat. And there are tons of rigs. Hold on, let me finish. I'm going to let you finish. Oh, okay. So there's tons of RVs or a lot of boondocking. Yeah. So it's almost like a little circuit. A lot of people stay in Quartzsite, and then they'll go to American Girl Mine Road outside of Yuma, and then there's another place that we haven't been to yet. But the cool thing about American Girl Mine Road is, again, because there's so many boondockers there, there's like a little community that if you can get out and talk to people and hang. And we actually enjoyed some time with the border hookups there. And we watched the Super Bowl party. It was awesome. Yeah. And then going into Yuma's a really cool town. It's right on the Mexican border. Fabulous Mexican food.
Yeah, really good. So Cottonwood, Arizona, Dead Horse Ranch State Park, Apache Junction, Lost Dutchman State Park. Yeah. Those were one of our favorites as far as campgrounds go. If you can get in, book it early.
Lost Dutchman. The downside at the time we were there, it was super hot. But that was our first experience with like a real desert. Like that was the first time I'd ever seen those big barrel cactuses like you had in the Roadrunner cartoons. And then I actually saw tons of Roadrunners.
Yeah, that was the first time I seen Roadrunners.
And and there were coyotes. So I mean, it was basically.
And that's the awesome thing, because like here we can hear the coyotes howling at night. So it's like each place has its own little charm. When we were in California, we had a bear eating from a cherry tree behind us. And, it sounds crazy. I get the wildlife question usually from the ladies. I'm scared, especially boondocking. Honestly, no. I don't know. I don't obviously don't go outside at night that much, so there's that.
I mean, we've heard a lot of coyotes out here, but they're usually very far in the distance. Let's see, how long you've been full time? We've been full time a little over 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Any plans to do an RV show out west, like California, or Arizona? We certainly could. We're really not familiar with this area and their RV shows, but
we should
be open to doing
this Tampa one is the first one we've really gone to. We'll see how it goes, and you know, if it's a cool thing that we'll might try to pick some as we travel around. So stay tuned. You never know.
Yay for the meetup in Florida.
Yay.
Be at the Tampa RV show. That's good. It's gonna be a good time. Hey, from Bedford, India. Hey. Hoosier, fellow Hoosier. Have you ever stayed at any Corps of Engineers campgrounds? If so, any favorites? Have we?
We haven't, but one of the
Isn't that a thing? Can we stay there?
Yeah, it just so happens that we haven't. I don't know why. I always look for
I thought
them.
that was like you had to like army. You had to be military.
No. There are some military ones you have to watch for.
Hugo's food just kicked in. Oh, he just farted. It's so good.
Oh, it's so bad, you guys. That's an RV thing. If you so we had to change his food because he had to go on a diet, and he's just smoking us out left and right. So more information than you needed. We are staying at a Corps of Engineers in Florida during that Florida stint. You know, we'll tell you if it's good or not. So I don't have much more to tell you about that one. Let's see if I can read these.
Oh, sorry, I'm the reader.
He's the reader. I have. Okay.
Thanks, guys. My wife and I are starting the house clean, ready to sell. We sent our twins to college this year, purchasing a Brinkley. Very nice.
We love them.
Yeah, Brinkleys are great.
If they had been around when we bought, it would have been a contender.
Yeah, that would have been a serious contender. Do you miss having a house, sticks and bricks? We really don't.
I really don't.
No, honestly.
I don't miss taking care of it. I don't miss all the stuff in it. None of it.
We plan for traveling from Eastern Canada to Arizona in February. What parts of Arizona or Southwest do you recommend most for boondocking during that time? We have a small Class C. With a small Class C, I mean, I don't know if you guys...
Campendium, iOverlander, get on there, get in some Facebook groups from boondocking. I have a video where I talk about that. Since you're a smaller rig, you're going to have so many more options than we do. So there's so many out there that you'll have your pick. You really will.
Southwest, do you recommend? Here, let me turn that fan off.
We literally have been fighting this thing with this dog. Barry bought the wrong food. It's a thing.
My unit came off the line at Brinkley this week.
Woo!
Congratulations. Looking forward to hitting the road in a few months. All in for a hookup at some point. All right. E-bikes, are they worth it? Great question. Absolutely. Of course, it's just like anything. If you use them, I really enjoy my e-bike because back in my younger days, I was super into mountain biking, and the bikes that we have, they're those big tire. I don't know if you watched our videos. If you haven't, we have some videos on that topic. We have the Rad Power bikes, which have the big, thick, heavy tires on them, and it's very rugged. So I ride mine like a mountain bike. She doesn't go with me. She'd probably really freak out if she saw
somebody has fallen a couple of times. I'm just saying onto cactus, which I then had to pick the cactus out.
Yeah, I had it wasn't a large cactus, but it was large enough. I don't recommend.
These are the things I deal with. Just so you know.
Hey, I'm an outdoorsman. What can I say?
But yeah, we do. I actually love the e-bikes. We've talked about it in several of our videos that especially going to places where it's hard to park a dually because we have a big truck, obviously, and you get into historical areas. Like one of our favorite places we did this was Charleston, and okay. And we parked the truck outside of the busy touristy area, and then rode our e-bikes in and just explored the whole day on our e-bikes, and then we didn't have to worry about parking. And then we could go to more places because we didn't have to walk everywhere.
Yeah, and you could do a lot more mileage. I mean, like there's a famous drive that we highly recommend. Everybody should do it. It's called the 17-mile drive, which is in Monterey, California. It's between Monterey and Carmel. They actually charge you to drive a car. Still worth it, in my opinion. Yeah. But there's a huge line. I mean, the landscape is like
it's so about beautiful,
as picturesque with the ocean crashing.
We show it in our favorite destinations video if you haven't seen that.
But my point is with that is that you can take for one, it's free to take a bike on the 17-mile drive, but you can do, it'll go 16 miles, our batteries did. But anyway, it allows you to ride a lot further on hills and stuff than you probably would, unless you're just like super into cycling.
But you can turn the assist off and get a good workout out of it.
Yeah.
Now there are e-bikes that are collapsible. So those of you who maybe don't have the room for a big e-bike, you can get the ones that fold down. And those are pretty cool too. So
you can put those maybe in the back seat of your, whatever you have. That's the only thing with our e-bikes is I have to kind of mount them, strap them down, all this kind of stuff in the toy hauler. It's kind of an ordeal, but
they're really heavy. If you're going to put them on a hitch, you better make sure you have a high weight.
Yeah. You got to have a hitch that's rated for them, because those things, mine weighs 70 pounds, just to give you an idea. Okay. What's your opinion on the new power stations with 30 amp outlets? That's a great question. We actually had a well-known company.
Yeah. I forget the name of it though.
EcoFlow.
No,
Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Anyway, so they approached us about, we didn't, it's not really relevant to what we do because we already have a solar rig. However, I do think they're very interesting. I did look at the stats on them. So if you don't know what we're talking about, they're these kind of like these self-contained, they're not generators. They're like it's
like a power block.
It's like a big power, it's like, it looks like a generator, but it's a big thing of lithium batteries. And, it essentially, and some of them, like they'll have like external solar panels that you can just kind of put out on the ground, and it helps charge them. And so it's
a pretty cool alternative if you don't have something. I think maybe people who are maybe toying around with maybe wanting to go off grid or don't have a lot of solar, you could use that to put your toe in the water a little bit. But it didn't work out for it. We get approached by so many companies, but I am not gonna push a lot I out at one if I wouldn't use it, if I don't think you would use it.
It wasn't relevant because we already have a solar rig. But I think absolutely, especially if you have a smaller rig and you're just kind of like looking at going, especially if you're like a part-timer and you're going on weekends, but you want to go out on an adventure and you don't want to have to hook up to someplace, but you still want to have maybe air conditioning or at least have power. I think it's a great idea. Hey guys, when camping in an RV resort community, how do you deal with the noise from your neighbors? When inside your RV, how much do you find the outside noise being an issue? That's a good question.
It never really was an issue. Even in the first year where we were in campgrounds most of the time, I can honestly think of a couple times where we had a noisy neighbor. Usually it was because of a weekend. Usually during the week, it's pretty tame because it's not weekend. The weekenders are going out there and having a good old time all the time for the weekend. So that's a couple state parks we've been to a little bit, but it never was anything that I was like, I'm pissed. Like it's too loud.
The two noisiest things, in my opinion, are small dogs. It's true.
The barkers.
Dachshunds. We've had people. They're
so cute, but
I know. But we were at an Alliance rally. Oh, I just
you should say that.
I should. Okay, we were at a rally, and there was somebody that had not one. They had like 4 dachshunds,
and they were just really barky barkers.
And they would bark at everything that walked by, drove by. It just.
God love them. The good thing they were cute. Let's put it that way.
And then. What is it about kids and swimming pools? It incites screaming.
Yeah. So if you're really close, pick your spots wisely. You can't pick your neighbor. You never know how noisy your neighbor is going to be. But honestly, we haven't had that happen very often. And if it's a KOA and it's the summer and on a weekend, there's just going to be a lot of kids and they're having fun. And honestly, it's kind of sweet. Like I love seeing the kids and families having a good time. But the one thing that we could have done something about. So we had a horribly noisy campground that if we hadn't already paid for a month, it was when I was recovering from my accident. We really needed to stay still for a month so I could recover. We had no idea this place was going to be this loud. I have never been so miserable. Like I didn't start to heal until we left there.
Well, it was the noise from the road.
It was awful. It was such a noisy road. Now, the good thing is if you're just traveling through, you can go, we're out of here. We're not going to stay. But they wouldn't give a refund.
Yeah. So that would be one suggestion that we would make that is somewhat within your control, and it's something you learn over time, which is try not to be right next to the highway on any campground, unless it's a one-nighter. Like if it's going to be like, sometimes we've stayed at Harvest Hosts that are cool places, but they're right by the road and it's really noisy.
Yeah.
But that's one night. But if you're going to book someplace, especially if you're not going to be able to get a refund, and it's right by a busy highway, which like this was in Colorado Springs.
That happened to us in Asheville too.
I mean, because the thing was that at weather-wise, it was super nice, but we didn't want to open the doors or open the windows.
It was terrible.
And we didn't want to go outside. We didn't hang out. We never started a fire. We didn't do anything.
So that's a weird circumstance, because we normally would never stay at a place like that long. But just know, if you're not committed, just go somewhere else.
I live vicariously through you, as we're not able to live this lifestyle yet. Hoping in the next 3 years or so. Really enjoy you two very much. Thank you very much, Sandra.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What's the one thing you would change in your RV, and what is your least favorite chore maintaining it? The one thing you would change in your RV.
That's a good question. We've changed the things we really didn't like. Like our shower doors. We had the glass shower doors. Hated those things. I hated cleaning them. They never would. Listen, we clean, but I don't have the time in the world to be cleaning constantly. And, it was just one of those, I couldn't keep them clean. So we got the Nautilus sliding partition.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a big one.
And you wouldn't believe how heavy those showers are that come with the RVs.
I think they were 50 pounds.
It took the two of us just to get them out. And it was and those Nautilus that we replaced it with are feather light. I mean, it helped us gain some
I think
weight there.
We've changed some of the stuff that we really didn't like. Chores wise, when you're boondocking, the tank stuff, it's just part of it. You kind of just accept it. Maintenance, just in general, I think can be his nemesis sometimes, just because it feels it comes in waves. It seems like things were breaking and needed maintenance all at the same time. So there was like 2-week period where I felt like poor guy was every day after work going out there working on something. And we try to avoid that so that we're having fun and doing this life at the same time, So I guess just the general maintenance might be it.
Mr. Roboto, domo arigato. Okay.
Is that somebody's?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He gets thumbs up from me just for having a cool name. I think the solution he had would be good for water. Not sure about the black tank.
I agree.
Hey, man. What?
I mean, for most people, I don't think most people
would. You're going to side with Mr. Roboto?
No, I'm just saying. I just feel it's fine for us. We're willing. We've seen the tote. We've seen how it's put together. We've seen the process. Yeah, so I feel like we have a more comfort zone with putting that much black waste or gray waste into a tote. But if you're fearful of that and that's just not your jam, you don't want to take that, just go with the Camco tote and be more comfortable with it.
I'm just saying it's super heavy duty, and it was not our idea. We actually
someone else told us.
It was one of our viewers sent us an email, and this was what he was using, and I was like, "Wow, that looks awesome!" And it was so inexpensive that I thought, "Well, we literally only have $60 to lose," and
we'll report back maybe in maybe 5-6 months. We'll keep using it and kind of report back what we think in long term.
We're in Florida. You boondocking. We're getting a place in Ocala.
Well, I'll let a little bit of the cattle back. So we are Elks members. So that's one of them. And the other one, there are some water management properties that,
Oh, the bad camper asked a base question. Love you, man.
The mad camper.
Oh, did I say bad camper?
Yeah, you said bad camper. This is what it's like with us, y'all.
Mr. Roboto and the Bad Camper. Sounds like a band. Okay.
Good names, yeah.
Also, would you mind sharing how you financed your truck and RV? Did you pay cash and finance? We paid partially cash and partially financed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally random. Do you use any pedals with your bass? Actually, no, I don't. I used a compressor pedal.
Y'all get him talking about music.
I swear to God, I won't bore you with that. That's all I ever used was a compressor. I like the dog poop bag idea. Oh, that's a good one. In case
it's a good one.
What's your dog RV?
They would, yeah.
So the little poop bags that you use for the dog to pick up the poop, we actually use that when we use those when we're boondocking for toilet paper. So we don't put and it's gotten to be kind of a habit for us now.
We
So
kind of just do it.
we just don't
right.
put toilet paper in the toilet.
And our tanks last longer, and I think they don't get as yucky.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for answering the medical question. Okay. Did you fit into Lost Dutchman? We are 42 feet.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
The part. Oh, yeah. We
You just have to pick your spot, right? I do remember though, we had a horseshoe.
It was one of those curved spots. Yeah.
We had to do a little.
It was a little tricky. You know what I mean? Because our truck is 20 feet long.
Yeah.
And then the camper's 20,
So we did. I
44.
think we had to drive through some brush.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Not that much.
Okay. Do you spend much time on the East Coast? I watched your budget episode and you signed up for one Boondocking subscription service. Have you tried any others and quick thoughts on them? We haven't spent that much time on the East Coast. That was our first trip ever. We went from Florida all the way up to Ohio. Then we came back down through Virginia.
More of a Midwest.
Or West Virginia, I should say. And went kind of like, we did go to
North Carolina.
Charleston, South Carolina, highly recommended. Asheville, North Carolina, unfortunately.
But we didn't do the actual coast and to go up to the,
no, we haven't done like the East Coast.
And we haven't probably for, it's hard to book, no boondocking. And if and when we do it, we might consider something like a regional 1,000 trails. I'm not sure. I really don't. I think the 1,000 trails and those type of memberships can save you a lot of money, but you are limited to those places. So I like to pick places on my own. I think that's really what it boils down to. I'm more of a control freak. I don't want to be told where to go.
Okay. Did you spend much time? We love COE and state parks best.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we do a lot of state parks. And if I think ahead, a lot of times I have to set an alarm because, we're trying to get 2 weeks at a place. Those weekends just get taken though. And it depends what season it is. And once a weekend is taken, we can't stay very long and we don't move during the week. So we have to really think ahead to get the state parks when we want them. So that's the only thing. I'll set alarms in my Google and my calendar to like the window when the park, when it opens, so I can get in there and get the dates. I've been known to do that.
Love you, Doug. Doug's got a solution for Hugo's farting, which is give him some kefir. Is that how you say that word? Kefir?
Oh, kefir. Yeah, I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
Put the pronunciation down there.
It's because like yogurty, like, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Oh,
good to know.
I'm gonna
We'll
try
that. He'll eat anything. So.
He will.
Oh my God, he ate something this week at the desert, and he started throwing up.
Oh my gosh, you guys, it was so scary. And this is something to be aware of with you traveling with pets. We're gonna do a whole video on traveling with pets soon, but I walk with him every day. We go for about 30 minutes or so. All we were doing walking around the campground, right? The desert has all kinds of weird stuff, right? And I didn't even see him eat anything. Like
he's sniffing. He's like any dog. He just constantly sniffs.
Yeah. He wants to pee
every
on
now and then
everything.
he'll nibble on something, and you didn't see him.
And like I got about 3/4 of the way back, and I noticed he was like desperately trying to eat grass, and he was drooling, and it progressed. And long story short, it was either rotten or poisonous or both or whatever. And I'm on the phone with a vet, and we're watching him, and he threw up several times, and finally, I think he threw up enough to where it got out of his system. We still don't even know what it was, but he was totally fine after that. But if you've got one of those dogs that eats everything like that,
be careful in the desert.
Be careful.
There's some stuff that can mess them up.
Yeah.
Do you have trouble with mice? If so, how did you handle? Thank you. We have had a mouse issue. We've had a couple.
Yeah.
Our first ever, we was in Missouri. I remember it was in Joplin, Missouri. And it was the first time we were journeying up from the west, actually from Arizona, all the way up to Elkhart, Indiana. And so we had to make one of those, driving over.
So we're at a different place every night, on the weekends, and
and
a lot of fields.
That's the first time we had stopped at a grassy field area. It was just a regular campground, and sure enough, a mouse had made its way in. We figured it out. Okay, just so you know. Because I didn't know. Now that we've been in this little experience, if you see things that look like you don't immediately think to yourself, those look like turds. You're thinking to yourself,
it's like, what's that on the counter?
Those look like poppy seeds. Well, they're not poppy seeds. They're
Plus,
just
like something had munched along the paper towel, and so there was these little bitty slivers.
that's when I knew, because I kept seeing these little things on my desk, like little, it kind of looked like poppy seeds or random things of dirt. But then we came out one morning, and there were what was clearly had been bitten off of our paper towels. And we use AI a lot. We actually use a one called Claude AI is our favorite. And so I'm having these conversations with Claude trying to figure it out.
We should have known what it was.
Yeah, well, we hadn't had that experience before. And sure enough, it was like, yes,
yeah,
rodents will eat paper.
But you know what we found was the best way? I mean, Barry went and plugged every hole, crevice. You got to not leave your bay doors open ever, but plug everything you can.
Which I should. Okay, word of the wise. I should have done that ahead of time. You don't
know. It's like if you don't have a mouse problem, you don't really think about it until you have it.
And here's another little tip for you. One thing I learned this from another RVing video from a lady whose camper had been completely infested with mice. She swears that when she started using a mint spray and spraying the outside of our RV down, anything that touched the ground. I mean,
it's like peppermint
everything.
and a little soap, like dish soap.
And it smells wonderful.
Yeah.
Because you're using real peppermint oil, but apparently rodents don't like mint.
So we started doing that, and regular mouse traps were the thing.
Yeah, we tried. Here,
don't buy all those fancy.
Don't buy the fancy mouse traps, the circular ones. They always come under good old fashioned wooden mouse traps, just like the old style.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Me and my wife just started our camper. We plan on retiring at the state 3 years. Good for you, lucky wrench. If you had to do it all over again, would you still go with a long toy hauler? Or would you go with something shorter like the GE3250 or shorter Valor? No, we would probably still go for the toy hauler just because
it's the separation for our two offices. That's the reason we got the toy hauler.
Yeah, I think maybe if we were retired or something and didn't, if I got to spend a lot more time outside fishing and doing stuff that I want and playing guitar and just kind of tooling around, I wouldn't need this big thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there are some new fifth wheels that have the second bedroom. That still wouldn't really help us. We needed 2 places to put offices that could be some sort of door in between. For us, that's what we were looking for when we did this. So maybe one day when we're not working so much,
Thanks for mentioning the foldable e-bikes. Just starting to look into them. Our first rig won't be a full-time one, so it will be smaller. Smart. Yep, definitely, because the bikes, and those racks are not cheap.
No.
The bike rack itself, I think, was $500. And, plus it's kind
that's a whole thing.
We have a lot. We're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, we are. It's wonderful that you have so many questions, and we really enjoy doing this. How about do 2 more, and then we'll have to cut it off.
Have y'all boondocked Southern Utah?
Yeah.
Was it Southern Utah?
Well, okay. So we boondocked. No, well, one of them is. We've only done Bryce, which was
Bryce Canyon.
Bryce Canyon.
Great boondocking spot right outside of
Tom
Bryce.
Springs Best Road.
Tom's Best Spring
Road. Yeah, something like that.
Weird names with these roads.
We have 2 videos on Utah on these trips, and you can get where we stayed. They were the first 2 we ever did. And then we stayed at just outside of Zion, and I forget what that area was called, but I know it's in the video. Yeah. So
the Zion spot was phenomenal. Probably the most stunningly beautiful spot we've ever stayed in, to where we would look out the window and go, I can't believe we're here. I mean, because we're just right. And then we were like 20 minutes from the entrance of Zion, and the other part, the other side of Zion. There's another, basically a whole side of Zion that a lot of people ignore. That is.
Oh, Kodachrome.
No, not Kodachrome.
Oh.
Remember where the lake was, where we went all the way up?
Oh, yeah. Okay, go back and watch those 2 videos, the very first 2 we ever did, so you can go back in the history, and we detail both of those places.
Yeah, incredible. I'm not sure. Let's see. Love the shower door idea. Okay.
Love that shower.
Does it concern you that insurance roadside help will not come to your aid if off paved roads, or do you just plan to pay the upfront cost? That's a great question.
Yeah.
It doesn't concern us, but not that it shouldn't. We haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, I really haven't thought about it much. To be honest, I don't think it would keep us from doing what we're doing. So it wouldn't.
You just got to be really careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we scout out everything so much, and we never just drive in. We will drop a bike and go down the road. We will go there the day before and drive it in our truck. We're way more cautious than most people are.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, we absolutely do that in our videos. Another really great thing for the e-bike, yeah, is being able to scout boondocking spots. Although you could do it on a regular bike too. Let's see here.
How about one more?
Okay, let's one more. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna scan through here, guys. Sorry, we don't mean if I skip you. Just nothing personal.
Yeah, we'll try to answer some afterwards, maybe.
East Coast is not big rig friendly, especially around tri-state.
Yeah, that's another reason we
true.
just probably have. We'll do it eventually.
Stephanie, like the poppy seeds I gave up the traps and got 2 cats. We're allergic to cats, but yeah,
I can't do it.
Cats are great.
I'm pretty sure Hugo might even be scared of it if he saw it. He's kind of a scaredy dog in a lot of ways.
Let's see. When do your boondocking course? Can you go over how you find boondocking spots? When do you do your boondocking course? So we'll probably do the boondocking course pretty quickly. How often when not boondocking do you use the side patio?
We use the side patio every time we go somewhere.
Yeah, we always use the side patio.
It's always out unless
let's just end it on this. So give them a quick primer on how you find boondocking spots.
How I find boondocking spots. Okay. I'll look at friends' advice first. The Wandering Shores is another channel. They boondock all the time. And I trust them because their rig is a little smaller than ours, but he will personally tell me if we can fit. So I'll ask him.
He makes a lot of YouTube videos where he actually shows the spots.
He will show you
the spot that we're in right now.
He'll take you down the road and you can see everything. So love them, Wandering Shores. I am in a Boondocking for Big Rigs Facebook group and a regular Boondocking Facebook group. They are a huge wealth. You just go up to the search where you're looking and see what other people have already said. And you can ask them questions. Then I will narrow it down, and then I'll look on Isla Overlander and Campendium. But the problem with them is sometimes it's people in small rigs. They don't say what kind of rig they're in. So then I'll take it and go to Google Earth and look at the spot and look at the road. And that's how I narrow it down. And I usually pick 2 to 3 places in case we get there and we go, we're not going there.
Because you never know what you're going to get.
So A, B, and C plan.
It could look great, and then you get there and the roads are too washed out or they're giant ruts or something. And
you never know.
And then you're like, where do we go now?
Yep.
So,
yep.
Well, guys, what are the name of the Facebook groups you're in for Boondocking for Big Rigs? It's called Boondocking for Big Rigs.
It's literally called Boondocking for Big Rigs.
Yeah, we're not making fun.
If you can't find it, message me on Facebook or our page, and I'll send it to you. Okay, how about that?
All right, guys, we're gonna go.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your support of our channel. We're growing like crazy. Tell all your friends about it. Come to the website. Check out our free resources. There's a lot of downloads, budget downloads, solar downloads, all kinds of things to help you on your journey. If you have any additional questions or something that's concerning, feel free to message us. We'll try to answer as much as we can. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
See you next time.